There are two kinds of people in this world: those who run from pain and those who let it carve them into something immortal. The world will hurt you, not once, not twice, but again and again, until you either break or become unbreakable. You see, life does not ask for your permission to wound you. It doesn't knock politely before it rips your heart open, dismantles your plans, or buries your dreams under the weight of fear, failure, and frustration. But what it does is give you a choice: to stay down or to rise forged, to let pain bury your voice, or to let it become the roar that wakes the sleeping giant within. This is not about comfort. This is not about ease. This is about truth. And the truth is this: pain is the forge of greatness. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But that seed does not bloom for those who are silent in their suffering. It blooms for the ones who dare to speak when their voice trembles, who dare to stand when their legs are shaking, who dare to dream when the world demands they surrender." Let me ask you something. Who would you be if you stopped hiding from the parts of your life that hurt the most? Who would you become if you stopped cursing the pain and started listening to it? Because pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher, your sculptor, your awakening. It is the fire that burns away the illusions and leaves only the truth behind. When Thomas Edison's laboratory burned to the ground, he didn't fall to his knees and weep for what he lost. He stood before the flames and said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." That is the mind of a person who refuses to let pain silence them. That is the soul of someone who lets the fire refine, not destroy. You were not born to tiptoe through life avoiding every crack in the pavement. You were born to walk through the storm and emerge baptized by thunder. And if you think you are alone in your pain, you are wrong. Lincoln buried his first love before he was 25. He failed in business, lost 8 elections, fell into deep depression so severe that friends had to hide the knives. But still he rose. Not because he was fearless, but because his purpose was louder than his pain. He didn't let the silence of failure deafen him. He let it teach him how to listen to the whisper of destiny. You want a life of greatness? Then you must stop praying for an easy path and start preparing for a worthy one. You must rewire your mind not to flee from difficulty, but to dance with it. Because every person you admire, every giant who carved their name into history, walked through fire and bled in the shadows before they ever stood in the light. They didn't escape pain. They used it. They turned wounds into wisdom, tears into blueprints, defeat into discipline. When Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination, he didn't argue. He imagined anyway. When he was fired, bankrupt, rejected by over 300 banks, he didn't collapse. He dreamed louder. He bet everything on a mouse. Because vision is not born in comfort. It is born in conflict. It is born when the world tells you no, and your spirit whispers, "Watch me." You will not rise because you are lucky. You will rise because you are relentless. Because when the voices in your head scream, "You're not enough," you answer with action. When your past tells you, "You always fail," you respond with presence. And when pain tells you to sit in silence, you choose to speak with your choices, your energy, your movement, your defiance. Let me be clear. Pain is not pretty. It is not poetic. It will leave scars. It will cost you. It will test everything you think you are. But it will also reveal everything you could become. It will show you what you truly value. It will strip away the noise, the lies, the excuses, until all that remains is your raw, unfiltered will. This is the will that built empires, the will that turned Carnegie from a penniless immigrant into one of the richest men in history. Not because he had an advantage, but because he had hunger. Because he believed that pain was not a wall, but a doorway. The problem today is not that people hurt. The problem is they've been taught to numb the pain, to distract themselves, to pretend everything's fine. They medicate instead of meditate. They scroll instead of sit with their soul. But listen to me, clarity does not come from escape. It comes from presence. It comes when you lean into the pain, ask it what it's here to teach, and then rise with that lesson tattooed into your spirit. Because when the world sees pain as the end, the ones who win see it as the beginning. And if you let it, your pain will open up a vision so vivid, so undeniable, that the fire of it will burn away every limitation you ever believed about yourself. It will reveal a path not walked by the many, but destined for the few. The few who endure, the few who create, the few who become. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to decide. I will not be silent. I will not hide. I will not stay small to keep others comfortable or to keep myself from feeling pain, because pain is not the opposite of joy. It is the invitation to it. And the deeper you hurt, the deeper you can love. The more you suffer, the more you can serve. The more you've been broken, the more light can shine through your cracks. So stop asking for a life without pain. Ask for the strength to transform it. Ask for the vision to rise through it. Ask for the fire to lead others with it. Because this is your legacy. Not the things you build. Not the titles you earn. But who you become when it hurts. Who you become when silence tries to swallow your roar. And whether or not you answer the call to rise, to speak, to endure, is not up to fate, it is up to you. You are the author, the sculptor, the warrior, and pain is simply your chisel. So let it carve you. Let it shape your hands into tools of creation, not destruction. Let it mold your spine into steel upright, unwavering. Let it etch into your heart a rhythm so steady, not even failure can throw it off beat. You are not here to be untouched by suffering. You are here to transform it into something eternal. Because pain is not chaos. Pain is intelligence. It is feedback. It is sacred information. It tells you where you still need to grow, where you still carry lies about yourself, where you are still hiding behind fear. Most people hear that voice and run, but not you, not anymore. You will walk straight into the sound and listen to it like a prophet, because buried in that voice is not destruction, it's revelation. Think of a sword. Beautiful, deadly, precise. But before it becomes a weapon of glory, it is melted down, beaten, folded, scorched again and again. Only then does it gleam. The same goes for your spirit. Your story will not shine until it has been pressed by pressure and tested by fire. But hear me clearly, the pain you endure is not what defines you, it is how you respond that will echo. Look around you. The people who have left their mark, the truly unstoppable ones, they didn't walk a gentle path. Oprah was told she was unfit for television. Stephen King's first novel was rejected 30 times, he threw it in the trash. Colonel Sanders? 1,009 rejections before someone gave his chicken a chance. But rejection is just redirection if you let it be. Setback is just a setup if you decide to stay standing. And silence? Silence is just a lull before the roar. Every no you hear is a chance to reinforce your yes. Every door slammed is another hammer hit forging your strength. If you understood how powerful pain could make you, you would stop avoiding it and start channeling it. Channel it into your focus, into your mission, into your discipline. You want to know what separates the average from the extraordinary? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's what they do when no one claps, when no one believes, when everything in them wants to quit, but something deeper says, keep going. Because the ones who rise are the ones who remember why they started, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. You will not become great by doing what is easy. You will become great by doing what is necessary, even when it breaks you, bleeds you, bends you, and you will keep going. Not because it's fair, not because it's painless, but because the fire in your soul won't let you stop. There is a fire within you, and pain is the fuel. Do you hear me? Pain is not the extinguisher, it's the accelerant. So stop begging for the pain to go away. Start asking, what is this building in me? Is it grit? Is it humility? Is it resilience? Because life will try to make you forget. It will try to distract you. It will try to bury your essence under convenience and comfort. But you are not here for a life of numbness. You are here to feel, to rise with rawness, to burn with purpose. And in this age of noise, of shallow praise and quick dopamine, your silence and suffering can be your greatest betrayal. Because when you hide your scars, you also hide your strength. When you bury your voice, you bury your vision. So let this be your declaration. I will not suffer in silence. I will speak not with words, but with who I become. Let your pain write poems in your work ethic. Let it sing through your commitment. Let it roar in your patience. Because the mountain does not move for the one who pleads, it moves for the one who persists. The current of destiny does not pull the passive. It yields to the willing. And right now, in this very breath, you get to choose who you are becoming. A person shaped by the pressure or silenced by it? A soul sculpted by the storm or scattered by it? You already know the answer. You were not born to bow. You were born to rise. And the pain, that was never your enemy. It was the proof that you're still alive, that there's still more in you, still more to build, more to give, more to become. And if that voice inside ever tells you again to stay quiet, to settle, to stop, you remind it who you are. You remind it where you've been. You remind it of the nights you got back up when you had every reason not to. The mornings you showed up when no one expected you to. The pain that didn't destroy you but designed you. And you say with your walk, with your work, with your will, I let pain shape me. I never let it silence me. Because in the end, silence never protected anyone. It never built a dream, never launched a movement, never rewrote the rules. Silence only serves one master, fear. And you were not born to be its servant. You were born to rise above the noise and speak through action. When the world says, be quiet, you build louder. When your body says, I'm tired, your soul replies, we're not done. When doubt knocks, you open the door, look it in the eye, and say, you're late. I've already decided. This is the furnace of self-mastery. The moment where you stop begging for the pain to ease and start using it as a compass. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start demanding, what is this awakening in me? Because every great reinvention is born in discomfort. Every next level version of yourself waits behind a threshold of pain most people will never cross. But not you. You don't just endure pain, you transcend through it. You don't just survive hardship, you create from it. Because creation doesn't begin with beauty. It begins with chaos, with disorder, with darkness. The caterpillar disintegrates inside the cocoon. It doesn't grow wings while intact, it dissolves, breaks down to the essence, and only then does it become something new. You, too, are meant to dissolve what no longer serves you. The fear, the shame, the outdated beliefs about who you are and what you deserve. All of it gone. Burned in the fire of transformation. And what's left? Clarity, conviction. A will forged not in fantasy, but in the raw forge of experience. Do you think Martin Luther King Jr. had peace in his process? He was jailed, threatened, beaten, his house bombed. But he had a voice, and he used it, not when it was safe, but when it was right. Because silence in the face of pain is complicity. It is spiritual betrayal. But to speak, to live, to rise in the face of suffering, that is courage. That is divine. So let them laugh. Let them doubt. Let them misunderstand. Because your work isn't to be understood in the moment, it's to be undeniable in the end. This path, it's not for the faint-hearted. This path requires blood. It requires failure that cracks your ego wide open. It requires sacrifices that leave you staring at the ceiling, wondering if it's all worth it. But you will keep going. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. And truth, that sacred whisper inside you, will not let you settle. It will not let you sleep through your calling. It will not let you die with your brilliance still locked inside your chest. You were born to burn bright, but every flame has its price. You will lose things. You will lose comfort, convenience, sometimes even people. But what you gain, what you become, cannot be measured in material terms. Because you become someone who knows what it means to fight for peace, to suffer for growth, to choose the hard thing not because it looks noble, but because it feels necessary. And in that knowing, you become dangerous. Dangerous to doubt, to mediocrity, to the systems that want to keep you numb. Because a person shaped by pain is not fragile. They are focused. They are grounded. They are humble enough to know they've been broken and strong enough to rebuild themselves anyway. When others flinch at pressure, you lean in. When others seek escape, you seek elevation. And that makes you rare. Not because you never fell, but because you got back up with wisdom in your scars and fire in your eyes. So when life asks you, what will you do with the weight you carry? You answer with footsteps. When the world says, it's too late for you, you answer with results. When pain knocks again, and it will, you let it in. You sit with it. You learn from it. And then you rise not in spite of it, but because of it. Because this is your sacred contract, to turn agony into alchemy, to forge meaning where others see mess, to walk through hell and come out holding light. And when they ask how you did it, you won't say you prayed for it to be easy. You'll say, I let pain shape me. I never let it silence me. And now we arrive at the moment of reckoning, the moment where every scar, every silent night, every clenched fist in the dark finds its purpose. This is not the end of the speech. This is the ignition point of your new life. Because you've been lied to. They told you pain was a problem to be solved. But pain is not a problem. It is a portal. A door only opened by those who dare to face it head on and say, I'm not afraid to feel. And when you step through that door, you don't find weakness. You find a version of yourself you've never met before. A warrior, a creator, a leader carved out of stone, not sand. This is who you've been all along. Not the frightened child seeking safety. Not the hollow mask trying to please. But the soul willing to stand alone in the storm and say, strike me if you must, I will rise regardless. That's what it means to be unstoppable. Not that you never fall, but that falling no longer owns you. Not that you are never wounded, but that your wounds have become symbols of power, not shame. You look at them now, and you don't flinch, you honor them. Because those wounds are your proof that you did not fold, did not flee, did not fade. You faced what most avoid. And in that choice, you transcended. You see, the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs people who are real. People who have bled. People who have been burned and still choose to love, to lead, to live loudly and with truth. Because when you become that person, you don't just inspire, you awaken. You remind others what they've forgotten. That we are not here to avoid the fire. We are here to become the fire. We are here to burn so brightly with purpose that others are warmed just by witnessing us. So let this be the sound of your awakening. Let this be the cry that shatters the shell. You will not tiptoe around your greatness. You will not dilute your dream to fit inside a comfort zone built by cowards. You will not wait for the pain to leave before you begin, because now you know the pain is the beginning. The pressure is not your punishment. It is your privilege. To carry the weight is to be chosen. To suffer and still show up, that is sacred. Because on the other side of that suffering is something holy, something only the brave ever touch. It is the stillness after the storm, the clarity after the chaos. The gold that remains after the fire consumes everything false. That is your reward. Not applause, not recognition, but alignment, a life lived from the soul, unfiltered, unshakable, unafraid. And from that place, there is nothing you cannot build, Nothing you cannot survive, nothing you cannot overcome, because your power was never in your perfection. It was in your persistence. And your legacy? It will not be built by what you avoided. It will be built by how you endured, by the bridges you built from pain, by the hands you held even while yours were trembling, by the truth you spoke, even when your voice shook. And one day someone will look at you and say, because you didn't stay silent, I didn't give up. That is power. That is meaning. That is impact. So remember this, as you rise into your next chapter, the pain was never meant to defeat you. It was meant to define you, to craft your voice, not cage it, to shape your soul, not silence it. And now, the world is watching, not to see if you fall, but to see what you become as you rise. So take a breath, clench your fists, lift your head, and step forward with fire in your chest and thunder in your heart, because you are not broken. You are becoming. And the world has not yet seen the full force of a soul who let pain shape them and refused to be silenced. Let the silence end now. Let the becoming begin.